Good day, News 24 readers. My name is Azara Karim. I'm an investigative journalist here with Sikonathi Mantshantsha, my colleague, who has just written an article, another installment of the Hunted investigation that him and Jeff Wicks have been working on, and for which they have recently won the Sikuvile Award for investigative journalism. This new article details historic links between one of the bidders for the chemical toilets contract, that Mpoma Fole, who was subsequently gunned down, audited and investigated, and historic ties to one politician and a court case that never really went anywhere. Sikonathi, tell us, you've actually written how many articles now on Hunted?
We have done about five.
Yes.
Yes, we've done about five since the murder of Mpoma Fole, and we started our series around August 2025. He was murdered on the 30th of June.
Okay, right. Take us back to that first story. How did it come about, and how did you start investigating the story?
So when Mpoma Fole was murdered in June 2025, we realized, after checking the news and just finding out who he was, what his job was, we realized that he was the third employee to be shot in that municipality.
Oh, so you realized that way back then?
Way back, okay. We realized that he was the third employee to be shot and the second to be actually killed. Right. Another auditor, Simnikiwe Mapini, had been killed on the 8th of December 2023. And we thought, what the heck is going on here? Let's dig some more and find out. The starting point, of course, is to check what was Mafule working on for the municipality. And we realized he had just joined the municipality 3 months prior to his murder. Mm-hmm. So we knew that whatever he would have been working on would not be large volumes of work. We could pin down the exact or his major works.
And obviously the chemical toilets tender stood out.
The chemical toilets tender stood out. We contacted a lot of people. We wrote stories to say he'd been working on these and these and that. And then some people came forward and pointed exactly at what he had audited. And they said, look at this. Some of us showed us reports, others told us what to look for. And we found this property audit that he had conducted to check whether the 1.8 billion rands contract to supply mobile chemical toilets to squatter camps had been conducted by the municipality correctly and awarded regularly and above board. The audit that he produced was scathing of the municipality's conduct and said a lot needed to be done to make sure that this was awarded correctly. And he urged the municipality to correct some things and said many of these companies that should have been awarded were not awarded, and others that didn't necessarily deserve the contract did get it.
But you also got some flack as a result of your reporting.
We were taken to court by the mayor of Ekurhuleni, whom we linked correctly to a murder in 2023. A DJ Bongani Mfihlo was killed at a club where the mayor had been present and had actually spent that evening with him. But the mayor didn't tell the police, didn't give a statement to the police about this.
He didn't approach the police.
He didn't approach the police. He appeared to have run away from the police because the police said there were no witnesses.
Until you wrote about it.
Until we wrote the story, then he went to the police. We started making inquiries. Then he went to the police and deposed of an affidavit detailing his presence and what he knew, what he had seen, and actually confirming that he had spent that evening, that night, where Bongani Mfihlo was murdered. The reason we linked Bongani Mfihlo's murder and the mayor was because one of the suspects, the guy Thabani Goodwill Ntshalintshali, who has now been arrested for the murder of Mpoma Fole, was actually one of the suspects that handed themselves over to the police for the murder of the DJ when the mayor was present. And the mayor took us to court, of course, was displeased and said we defamed him.
But it was dismissed.
And the High Court sent him packing and said there's no defamation here. Indeed, you were there, and indeed you have now reported your presence to the police. But after we wrote that story, we wrote another story about Tuedu, one of the companies that had won the part of this 1.8 billion rand tender.
And they also took you to court.
They also took us to court and said it's defamation.
Yes. I didn't kill anyone. Yeah.
We didn't accuse, and we're still not accusing them, and neither are we accusing the mayor of any role in anyone's murder. We didn't accuse Tuedu of killing anyone. We said, we asked them, what is your address in Ekurhuleni? Please show us you have the capability to do to execute the work that the municipality.
Because there was a discrepancy between where the head office was.
Yes.
The Ekurhuleni tender, and they did not want to provide those the base of operations
Absolutely.
in Ekurhuleni.
Azara, the conditions, the specifications of the Ekurhuleni tender said any company that wants this tender must have its operations within Ekurhuleni. So we asked for Tuedu's address because their registered address is in Limpopo, in Tzaneen. We said, oh, it appears you are operating from 400 kilometers away. How are you able to service these toilets? Show us if you have any address in Ekurhuleni. They refused, and when we published the story, they went to court and said that's defamation. They said we linked them to the murder of Mpomafule, which we didn't.
No.
We said, and we still do say, that Mpomafule had audited that contract, and Tuedu got a slice of that contract. That's exactly the same now with Selby Construction and RSMM Construction. They got another share of this contract, and we asked of them the same questions. Where is your address in Ekurhuleni? And we are having similar problems, it would appear.
Yes, because after the court case, you sent them questions again, saying, can you tell us now?
After the...
But in fact, that they are not the only company that didn't want to. I mean, the address has been a repeated issue with some of these companies for this tender, right?
Azara, Jeff and I have gone through the companies that were, there were 15 companies that are sharing this 1.8 billion rand over 3 years to supply chemical toilets. Jeff Weeks and I are going with a fine-tooth comb through all of them to see who they are. And so far we have found 4 that appear to not want to tell us where their operations are in Ekurhuleni.
Right.
And as we said earlier, Tuedu took us to court and lost in court, and we asked them again, where is your address in Ekurhuleni? And finally, they have given us the address. The story of what we will find there is still coming.
Let's focus on this story that you published on Sunday. It details an historic relationship between Selby Mantata and a very prominent politician, as well as a court case that they were involved in together, but that was later dismissed. But why do you think that this context is relevant in this series of investigations?
Let's start here and give viewers who may not have yet read the story that we published on Sunday. The story is that a company called RSMM Construction, together with a company called Selby Construction, are both owned by Selby Mantata. Selby Mantata is a businessman from Limpopo who was charged for corruption, fraud, and money laundering back in 2012, together with Julius Malema, with On Point Engineering, a company called On Point Engineering, Lisiba Kwangwa and Kwama Properties, and other people, including Mantata's brother. They were charged for having paid. Mantata specifically was charged with his company at that time that he was employed in on-site Oceanside Trading, 777. They were charged for paying Julius Malema 1 million rand. The state said that was a bribe because that money was used to buy a farm for Julius Malema through the Rotanang Family Trust. This was after a company called On Point Engineering, in which the state again said Julius Malema had shares through the Ratanang Family Trust, had won a tender in Limpopo from the Roads and Transport Department and brought in this Mantata's company on Oceanside Trading after Oceanside paid Malema 1 million rand through the...
And those charges were dropped, or the case
So
was dismissed?
the charges... First, all these suspects, there were about 6 of them, appeared in one case, and later the state separated the trials into 2. One with Julius Malema, Lisiba Gwanga, On Point Engineering, Kwama Property, and maybe 1 or 2 other people for the same charges of fraud, money laundering, and corruption. The state took out Oceanside Trading, which was a company directed by a woman called Helen Morero, and Selby Mantata and his brother Mahato worked for Oceanside Trading. They were actually the signatories in the bank account that had paid Julius Malema. The state alleged that it was Selby Mantata himself that had signed a 1 million rand check on a Nedbank account, which paid that alleged bribe. During the trial, the court acquitted Oceanside Trading, Mantata, and them. All the accused were acquitted, and the state could not prove its case. The state appealed to the High Court in Pretoria to have the charges reinstated. The appeal again was thrown out. So Selby Mantata and his brother, and what our colleagues Polly van Wyk and Mika Reddy in their book said, Helen Morero, they said she was married to Selby Mantata, so his wife. They had allegedly paid the 1 million rand bribe. They were all acquitted, and that matter was dispensed with.
Okay.
So that's the historical link to Julius Malema.
And now, why is that important in the context of the chemical toilets?
This is why that's important in the context of the chemical toilets. This current contract of the chemical toilets in Ekurhuleni, Mantata's company, RSM Construction, has received 56 million rand so far. In total, this company has been paid 1.6 billion rand together with Selby Construction, which is also his other company. They have been paid 1.6 billion rand over a period of 10 years since they started doing business with Ekurhuleni. Julius Malema is the leader of the Economic Freedom Fighters, which is the 3rd largest party in Ekurhuleni with 11%, and had been part of the coalition governments since 2016. It appears from the work that we have done that, and indeed the municipality has confirmed to us, that Selby Construction started doing business with that municipality in 2016. That is the year the municipality fell into a coalition contract, coalition government, in which the Economic Freedom Fighters played a very big and influential role. And tenders are awarded by councillors, or tenders are awarded by the municipality, and it appears the companies that have won these tenders are linked to either the councillors or to some of the political parties or to the leaders. We found the link that I told you about of Selby Mantata having been charged alongside Julius Malema in 2012 in a corruption trial in which he is alleged to have paid a bribe to Malema. Let's repeat again. They were discharged. He was acquitted. On the other case, Julius Malema and Kwama Properties, they were actually, the case was struck off the roll before the trial could begin because of several delays on the part of the prosecution.
Obviously, you've written extensively about these companies. You've won awards for this investigation. And as you said, you've written 5 stories now. Why do you think it's important to still keep this in the public eye, to still keep Mpuma Fole's name front and center of everyone's minds?
The reason this story is really important, the story of Ekurhuleni, as I have said previously, 2 human beings have been shot and killed for only, it would appear, for having been employed in the wrong department of the municipality where it deals with large amounts of money.
Yes.
So at least 2 families are crying for justice.
Absolutely.
we are doing what we can, one, to expose the huge corruption that seems to be going on in Ekurhuleni. And it has turned really into a very violent gangster state, in the sense that if you don't get your contract, people get killed. Or if auditors
do their
or
job,
employees who do their job, they get killed for doing their job. Simnikiwe Mapini was also auditing a chemical toilets contract when he was killed. Mpoma Fule was auditing a chemical toilets contract when he was killed. Now, why should working for a municipality, why should trying to protect taxpayers' money be a death sentence? And why should families allow their members to work for a municipality if they are sending them to their deaths? But most importantly as well, what are taxpayers getting for the business that Ekurhuleni is doing? Why is that municipality spending so much money paying companies to provide chemical toilets, which are not a solution? Where is the infrastructure that must be brought? The municipality must build infrastructure for the residents to maintain the dignity of the people who live in these informal settlements. Why is it spending so much money? It appears to me that the answer is really simple, because it's a very lucrative vehicle for politicians and their allies and their friends to make a lot of money off the taxpayer without actually doing anything, without providing any services. Yep. And I must state that we have now these companies by Selby Mantata, Selby Construction and RSM Construction, which have benefited from this contract that Mafule was murdered for. I must state that we have not and are not accusing Mantata or his companies of having played any role in any of the murders. And indeed, Mantata himself has denied that we are not accusing anyone of killing him for Mafule. What we are doing is checking what was Mafule working on before he was killed. We have now found that these companies have benefited, and we are profiling who they are, the companies that benefited from this contract.
I think nothing has driven the point of the importance of the work that we do. Like that day when we were in court and Mpoma Fule's entire family and extended family joined you in court to give their support and to, express their displeasure with the mayor in suing you. I think that was a powerful.
That was a very powerful and very emotional message that they sent. And it appears News 24 is their only hope of ever getting any answers as to why their son, Mpoma Fule, was murdered, because the criminal trial is not revealing much. Thabani Goodwill Nchali is the only suspect so far that was arrested and is going through trial for having done the shooting. We don't know who is behind, who paid Thabani Nchali, if indeed he is guilty of that crime, or whoever killed Mafule. We don't know who paid them. We don't know who the mastermind is. We don't know why. The work that News 24 is doing will simply only give some of the answers, but unfortunately we are not able to dispense justice. We are not able to find the killers of Mpoma Fule. We are not able to answer any questions as to why Mpoma Fule was killed. The only thing we can and are doing is to say, this is the work that he did before he was killed, and let the family, let the people of Ekurhuleni see for themselves what it is working for that municipality.
And on that note, if you have any tip-offs for Sikonathi and Jeff Wicks on this story, you can get in touch with them on our secure, anonymous tip-offs line. Just go to news24.com/tip-offs. Sikonathi, thank you so much for joining me and for giving us the context of this very powerful investigation, award-winning investigation.
Thank you, Azara.
Thank you.
Thank you.